Hi everybody, this is Saad for the Saad Truth. Yesterday evening I received an urgent email from a reporter with the College Fix asking me to comment about the Bruce Gilley case. For those of you who don't know, Professor Gilley is a professor at Portland State University who recently penned an article in Third World Quarterly titled "The Case for Colonialism." And in other words, where he was arguing that there were some benefits reaped via colonialism. And as you might imagine, a lot of people got very upset by that. And petitions were started to get him fired, to get his tenure revoked. Someone even mentioned that his doctoral degree should be revoked. And so I was sitting around with my family, and I wrote to the reporter, well, what kind of timeline do you need? He said, well, I'd really like if you can sort of get to it tonight. And so I did. I went away from my family and immediately sought to familiarize myself with the issue so that I could comment on it. Now, as I explained in the comments that I'm about to read to you, I did not read the article in question, but rather wanted to comment about the notion of forbidden knowledge, something that I actually discussed with Sam Harris last year when I appeared on his podcast, where he was asking me, are there particular topics that you wouldn't touch in your scientific work, topics that are too taboo? And my answer was a unequivocal no. As long as you pursue the scientific method honestly and appropriately, and you're not driven by any particular biases, then it becomes very, very dangerous to argue that some things are too dangerous to study, right? So I'd like to read for you the comments that I posted on my social media yesterday, which I had sent to the reporter in question. Now, I believe that he took parts of my full statement to use in his article. Excuse me. So here we go. I have not read Bruce Gilley's paper, so I cannot comment about its content, veracity, or scientific/intellectual rigor. Furthermore, I cannot comment about whether the proper editorial process was followed. That said, we should be very weary of punishing academics for causing, quote, offense and hurt. This, by the way, is what some of the professors who were demanding that the paper be retracted and that he be punished and so on were arguing that, freedom of speech should certainly not cause offense and hurt. This is a standard that is solely relevant to enemies of reason. I support the right of Holocaust deniers to come on university campuses to spew their grotesque nonsense. I'm Jewish. Hurt feelings do not constitute an integral component of the epistemology of the scientific method. If Gilley's work is academically false, he will best be, quote, punished by having the paper remain part of the official record. I am, quote, offended and hurt, close quote, every day by a broad range of enemies of truth, including postmodernists, radical feminists, and social constructivists. Yet, I don't seek to have them fired or have their nonsensical articles retracted. Defeat bad ideas with better ones. Do not fall prey to the reflex of censorship. So that was my official statement with regard to the case in question. Again, it is a profoundly dangerous slippery slope to have grandstanding, moralizing, truly enemies of truth decide what is too controversial to discuss, what is too hurtful, what is too subversive. I mean, think about the Nazis when they go on a purge to argue that, this type of art is simply too subversive. And so they start culling that art, right? And no, I didn't just succumb to Godwin's law by inferring the Nazis, it's actually a very valid example because it demonstrates that all sorts of fascist, totalitarian enemies of truth and enemies of reason will use all possible means to protect their narratives. If you're in the Middle East, maybe I'll stop you from speaking by beheading you. If I am in some other totalitarian environment, say Soviet Union, I send you to Siberia to some gulag for retraining, re-education, because you're otherwise mentally ill for speaking out against the regime, against communism. If you are in the West today, well then I fire you, I demand that you be fired, I ask that your paper be retracted, I try to revoke your tenure, I try to turn you into an ostracized, rejected pariah because you do not adhere to the formal groupthink. All of these attempts are ways by which we can control the narrative, and of course we do it differently across different landscapes. Beheadings in some cases, or ruin your careers and your reputation in others. So again, in a free society, you defeat the ideas of others through a very formal and peaceful process. You debate, you use reason, you use logic, you use science, you use all sorts of epistemological tools that we have at our disposal to decide which ideas are good, which ideas are bad. In such a free society, even complete nonsensical, grotesque buffoons like Holocaust deniers have a right to exist. That's what it means to live in a free society. It is truly baffling that these so-called professors, who are about as much professors as my antiquated toaster, they don't understand this idea. Okay, so if you thought that his article wherein he is referring to the benefits of colonialism is bad, well then write a counter article where you demolish his ideas. What could be greater punishment than that? It is precisely because you fear that you will lose in the battle of ideas that you try to suppress ideas that are contrary to yours. There you have it, folks. I wish you all a good weekend. And as I said, I even wish a good weekend to postmodernists, radical feminists, and social constructivists. That's how magnanimous I am. Cheers.